Hi, my name is Michael James and welcome to Foodie and Fit. I wanted to take the time to update everyone since I did miss a week or so, just as my progress and what's been going on, and then just the things that I'm finding that are a challenge, and then just kind of update the status of this channel. So right now I'm a little bit over 15 pounds lost. And so I'm really enjoying that. Especially I woke up today and I looked in the mirror and I saw definite changes in the stomach area, and so for me that's where I store most of my mass. So those are good things. One of the things that I've found interesting and the challenge is just trying to make sure to move away from centering my life around food. One of the things that you do not realize is that if you're going out with friends, family, dating, or just co-workers, that a lot of activities will be around food or doing things that like calorie intake, because maybe you're just going for drinks. And so it's been a little bit more of a challenge trying to, talk with people and get them to let them know my goals and then kind of reinforce that and then change certain habits. So, I see certain people a little bit less just because for them, good friends, but they want to do drinks or they want to do lunch or dinner. And for me, my goal is I've got my cheat meals down to just one time per week, and that's been huge. Before, I'd be casual with my cheat meals and still maybe do 2 or 3 times throughout the weekend. But right now, I'm really trying to focus because I want to show that within a short time frame, you can lose that final stubborn weight. And so it doesn't have to be, I went 2 years just to lose 40 pounds. It doesn't have to take that long, as long as you're just staying consistent with what you're doing. So for me, I found, as I've talked about, is tracking my food, and not just tracking my food with estimating, but I have a food saver and I have a food scale, so I weigh my food out beforehand if it's meat actually I would think I weigh almost everything out beforehand except for my rice. And so even that, as I went from kind of just estimating things or kind of just eyeballing, well, hey, how much olive oil I'm using to cook things. Now I've switched to spray oil. I've changed things up so I can 100% dial things in. And I've seen results a lot quicker. So that's what's new. What's new is I'm still losing weight, and I'm just making sure to stay on top of that. So especially I've been kicking around the ideas about talking about dating, talking about friends, lifestyle, and just really kind of encompassing everything you're doing when you're trying to lose weight. Because if weight loss was just simply worrying about what you're eating, things would be easy. Anyone could do that. But really it's, hey, if you are single or if you're in a relationship, those things impact you. For me, I know I put on relationship weight when I was living with someone, when I've been in relationships, because it's very easy to, you come home, you want to spend time with them, you eat dinner, or do something, and you may allow yourself to overeat. I know I can overeat, especially with certain cuisines that I'm just a big fan of, and like Chinese food or barbecue food, it's very easy for me to overeat. So if I pair having the food that I like with someone that I really care about, it's very easy for me to overindulge. So one of the things that, just to minimize that, is start planning activities. I mean, it's very easy to say hey, do you want to go for drinks, or how about a hike? And also there's 2 kinds of hikes. There's the legit hiking where you're going off in the mountains and you may get deer ticks or whatever. And then there's casual hiking. I'm more of a fan of the casual hiking, although I can do real hiking as well. Casual hiking here in Riverside, Mount Ribideau, it's paved and it's all the way up. I was okay, well, this is too casual. And I can see why some of my friends were bagging on that as a place to go hiking. But then there's areas in San Diego, Cow's Mountain, where it's not paved, but it's a little bit more of a tourist, a little bit more easier for people to do. But that, I like to be able to have fun, enjoy, and still be able to talk with someone casually while doing that. And so that's just the kind of difference for refocusing what your life is about, is to see how easy it is to, hey, let's go for drinks, or how to decompress with food, or just things that take in calories, and then trying to adjust that and like, hey, do you want to go bowling? Hey, do you want to go see a movie? Hey, do you want to do these things? Because maybe you don't need to always be active. You just need to find little ways to avoid cheating. So, and for me, I know that especially if I'm really dehydrated and hungry, at a certain point, I'm just going to give in. So last week, when I was having this workshop, I started just making sure that I had my meals packed, because I was like, you know what, I can still be home and stuff, and maybe, but it just took me extra time to get everything packed beforehand, just so, okay, I already have lunch and dinner made, so that way, because lunch was not going to be a problem, but it was dinner which was going to be the issue. So then I just took that worry out, so it wasn't hard for me to go to 7-Eleven and then have food. But it's just making sure to like look at your life and make adjustments where needed. So yeah, dating, that is one of the hardest things that gets in the way for people to make changes, or being in a relationship, just because it's hard to go from start to stop. From stop to start when it's not just you. When you and your partner may have routines, or may have different goals when it comes to what you're trying to do for yourself. So it's really a minefield when trying to get into fitness and talk to your partner about that, just because if they're not into that, like, it's hard to get someone to like, hey, I need to not eat so much. Because trust me, I had an ex who, she would love to put cake food onto my plate, and I kind of would just have to like, hey, no, like, I understand. And that was like her default, just because that's how she was raised. That's what her family, that's what her culture, that's what they do. So it was just kind of I had to be a little bit more proactive and stuff, because I'm not trying to offend her, and not trying to say like, put her onto my path, but it was just like, hey, this is just what I'm trying to do, and it's just being serious about that and your resolve to just make those sorts of changes. So that's going to be one of the things that I do talk about. I'm going to start doing not just update videos, but also kind of talking about taking issue from life. So dating is definitely going to be one thing. FoodieandFit does dating, and then just kind of suggestions and stuff, and still try to do more event videos going out in the community, just because that can be so much helpful. I've seen on joining some of the groups with my Fitbit, that there's other people who are on their weight loss journey, and then just to see that sort of community form, it becomes helpful. I mean, think about this. Wouldn't you like to be able to hang out with someone and then still be on your weight loss goals, but already have ideas? So let's say I say, hey, let's go bowling, and you don't bowl, or you don't like bowling. I already have backups that will kind of get that same thing of like, hey, what if you don't want bowling, but they're fine with karaokeing, or they're fine with mini golf, or they're fine with seeing a movie, or they want to go to a play, or they want to go to some sort of festival. So like, just to kind of explore those options, and then just talk about from the relationship side, just because that's important. So covering relationships, covering different life aspects is going to be a part of this channel, just because it's what we all deal with. I mean, I've been able to make a lot of progress when in relationships, and I've taken the time to communicate my goals and work with someone. And that's just the key is, hey, if that's your goal, most people I know want to lose weight or want to modify, become healthier. And that's the reason why the fitness community and weight loss community, those things are billion-dollar industries, is because anyone who remotely lives on this planet Earth and is in America, or some other country that's ravaged with obesity or health issues, these things come up. You can do a lot of things in your life to kind of avoid it. I mean, I know people who, they hate selfies or they hate photos, because guess what? A photo is a reflection of who you are at that moment physically. And so when you see that, if you're not happy, like, you're going to avoid that. I know I've been there where, especially when I was tipping the scales at least 280 or so, I didn't like photos at the time, just because like I wasn't happy with how I looked. And then when you see that picture of yourself with a double chin, or you see yourself just not like, wow, that's me, it's easier to ignore that, if you shut that door, if you avoid those things. And so the hard part is sometimes just confronting it, like, hey, I'm not happy. It doesn't have to be the thing that defines you. It can be the opportunity to make the change, to say, like, I am not happy. What can I do? If you would be happy being beach ready, like, then do that. Like, take the steps, because like it is a hassle to make changes, but then it's worth it. So in 2016, when I started losing weight, I told people, and I got people involved and saying like, hey, this is my goal and stuff. But it wasn't until I got results, that's when a lot of people came out of the woodwork to say like, oh my God, like, wow, you have a six pack, like you look like, wow, what's your secret? And so that's kind of the purpose of this vlog, is to document, not just tell you, hey, just diet, hey, just work out, but to kind of show you what I'm doing and experience, and then kind of touch on the aspects of life that can impact that. Because, hey, most people I know, when they get in a relationship weight is coming. Like, that's just a fact. It's just, what can you do to avoid that, or to make that a non-issue, and just kind of think about that stuff. So that's what we're going to be covering in the next few weeks, in the next few months, as I progress along this weight loss journey. Again, right now I'm down to 218, and that's phenomenal. That's especially when I was at 234 when I started this on February 13th. Like, that seemed a long ways. I knew that I wouldn't feel as motivated until I got to at least double digits, and then once I start feeling like more like the halfway point. So from 234 to 218 has been a nice little journey, but then I'm looking forward to showing when I start getting the results that I want, where it's just like, all right, 215, 210, 205, 200. Those are going to be the things where you're going to start seeing the real change. I mean, for me, I started noticing the definition of my face, and like, hey, like when I started getting a little bit more angular around the jawline, and like, okay, especially compared to photos prior. And that's why photos should not be something that you avoid. Like, they're just not, especially how obsessed with our culture is. It says a lot more about somebody if they're hesitant against that stuff, just because it's so pervasive. I mean, I've rarely seen too many people who are very fit, very humble, hardworking people who also hate taking photos. I mean, I'm just speaking for myself. I don't want to apply this to anyone else. I've been there when and like I said, I don't need to go in the past, but going into the future, going not in the distant past when I was 280 to when I got in shape, and it wasn't something that I ever thought about. Like, boom, I was ready. So hey, when we went to the beach, up, shirt off, relax, and then there's photos and stuff, and then like, oh wow, look, you're really happy with those photos, and you don't get that little reminder, those little like cringy moments that you learn to avoid, because you can spend your whole life trying to avoid those moments, or you can just be ready. And for me, here at FoodieandFit, I decided to just be ready. So this isn't going to be, like I said, I'm never going to be the point where I'm just like giving up on good food or doing all those things, because like, you can live that way, but that's not what this is about. This channel, my journey, everything that I'm trying to present is just how you can still have good food. So my birthday is April 27th, which is a Saturday. So for me, I'm going to spend time with my family and enjoy one of my favorite restaurants, Hodad's. I'm going to get chocolate shake, which it's huge, with overflowing with chocolate ice cream and chocolate syrup. I'm going to get a burger. I'm going to get frings, which are fries and onions. I'm going to enjoy that stuff, but it's just making sure, because again, one cheat meal is not going to kill you, especially if you're taking the time to be so precise throughout the rest of the week of, all right, cool, I know what I had, down to how much calories I'm getting from the oil and all these things. Like, if you're that on top of it most of the time you want to enjoy it, it's fine. And from previous time, when I originally lost weight in 2016, like, I wish I would have had this channel then, because I went to Vegas twice that year for like 4 or 5 days at a time, and I enjoyed those buffets. I enjoyed my 4, 5, 6 days in Vegas, and I ate and I drank and I got margaritas by the yard from from Fat Tuesday, and I enjoyed it because realize if you put in the work, you don't just lose it because of 1 or 2 or a week of bad eating. Like it doesn't just go away that quickly, but that's why it just takes putting in the time and the work. So again, I'm trying to show you what can be accomplished. That's why literally by when I go take more photos and get more stuff done, by I think the end of May to early June, you're going to see what it looks like when you can hit your goal. And it doesn't have to be years from now. Weight loss is one of those things that we always try to buy time for. We always try to say like, hey, well, I'm losing weight and you try like I'm doing successful, so I don't need your suggestions, or I don't need to do it all the way because I've seen a little progress. First, you're going to lose weight. Most times especially depending on how much weight you have to lose, if you just make a couple modifications. I'm trying to make the modifications that take you from that like, hey, you're borderline and there's not really as much weight to lose, to beach body. So like, okay, shirt off, I'm ready. And that's where the challenge is, because I've been there to where the weight, that's the tough weight. It's when you really have to cut away from some of the bullshit that you can add to your diet. And so down to 215, I'm going to take it down to 200. I'm down to 218. I'm going to take it down to 200 for sure. And my goal this time is actually to take it down to 190. Because when I looked at it, it was like, I know it's possible, and I know the things I can change and modify. Because for me, I still am going to lift weights. I'm still going to work out. I'm still going to enjoy life. But I want to be like, for me, that's the goal, is to like have a certain aesthetic. Because I didn't have that going to college. I didn't have that, and it was a personal thing of like, I know I want it, but I wasn't open to hearing the steps required to put the work in. Now I'm in a different place in my life where hearing that stuff, knowing that stuff is like, I know I want it, and here's the work that's required to get there. So like, why don't I just connect the gaps and fill in the blanks? So when I go get new photos and stuff, I've already talked with the photographer. I already told him, I was like, hey, when I originally got headshots back in February, I was just like, hey, well, I'm going to be making another appointment with you because my goal is to lose at least 30 pounds. And at that point, if you're going to get, like, that's when you should get photos. You drop a substantial amount of weight, like 30 pounds, that's nothing to sneeze at. That's really going to have an impact. So that's been my goal, and I'm working towards it, all right? Well, this has been Foodie and Fit. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Stay with the channel, because I want to show you when I hit to 215, 200, and then see what I can do to push below it, because you're going to be really impressed with the results. And I don't want this to be a secret for when I get the results. People are like, wow, it seems like a surprise. This is a journey, and the journey begins with taking a step, taking another step, and finding ways to move along the way. So we're going to get into the lifestyle. We're going to get into eating and all the things that we can do, just so that you can still enjoy life and you're not feeling bad about living or having things that you want to do in life, but just show how you can still progress along the way. I'm Michael James, and this has been Foodie and Fit.